Good evening, Linda. How are you? I hope that you can hear me okay. Good evening, Vesta. Thank you so much for being here on a Thursday evening instead of Thursday morning. I do appreciate that you are flexible with my schedule, especially since our birding festival has kicked off for the next 10 days. The reason why you don't see me starting the live the way I normally do is I am windblown, I'm tired, and I just thought, usually in the evening I start out my lives like this anyway because it ends up being so late, and sometimes I'm in my pajamas already. But it was very windy by the lake today, and you can see it written all over me if you were to have been looking at me. So that's why we're starting the live with my camera face looking down at my desktop. Okay. Hi, Amanda. Yes, Amanda, I know. If evenings work very well for you. Hi, Linda in North Texas. Hi, Alice. And she's so happy that she's making it to a live. Hi, Susan. Hi, Kathy and Melinda. Melinda, you have been so busy making quilt blocks. Melinda found me on Facebook not too long ago, and since then she has been busy going back through the files and creating a lot of the quilt blocks that we have done. I love it when your excitement comes through like that, and when I'm in the community group, Quilt Cards and More, I'm seeing not only patterns that we've done in the past, but we have card makers who are sketching out their quilt designs and figuring out the measurements, and after they've gone to all that work, they generously share it with the rest of the group. It's just amazing. I just can't get over how phenomenal you all are. So it really makes my day when I see you taking it further and doing a live, and she is trying to call me. So sis, if you see this, I'm doing a Facebook Live and you can call me when we're done. Hi, Marilyn and Aileen. Susan in Australia, yay, she gets to watch. And hi, Pam. Okay, so let's get started. There is so many fun things about tonight's mystery. I have been so excited ever since, I think, Monday night. So let's get started by, let's go over what I had you prep to get ready for tonight, okay? So we have a 6.5 inch square of, I chose basic black. This is going to be a layer. You just want something that's going to coordinate with the designer series paper that you're using, okay? And then we have a 6 inch square of any color, because it's a foundation. You don't have to be too worried about what color it is. But I like the basic white because it's not as thick as our regular cardstock. And if you're going to be layering on top of it and then running it through an embossing machine, it leaves a nice weight by the time you put stuff on it, okay? And then I've got a 6x6 piece of designer series paper, and I am using the neutrals. We just started a new catalog, and I don't have the new 6x6 designer series paper packs yet, so I'm still using what was, and it's still kind of current in a way because you can still shop for it in the last chance section of the ordering at stampinup.com. So as long as it's still available, to me, we're going to use it. And really, I don't have any choice because I don't have anything different. But this is the neutrals. And then from that neutral pack, I just picked out some, a deeper gray than what I used on this 6x6. And I just went through and I saw colors that I thought looked good together. So this is Pecan Pie, Early Espresso, Crumb Cake, and Basic Beige. And really, these are all the same pattern. I just flipped a couple of them over to give you an idea that once we start putting our quilt block together, you might see that you want one side versus the other. Okay? Hi, Betty in Colorado. Hi, Lori. And Sharon, yay. And Pam. Okay, so, and then I've got 8 half-inch circles. Now, I just have a little EK half-inch circle punch that I bought online because I wasn't really using, or, well, not you. I've always used a lot of Stampin' Up product, even before becoming a demonstrator, but I wasn't around when Stampin' Up had a little half-inch punch. So I had to go searching online and I found this one. So if you're in the ballpark of a half-inch, and I think even if you go a little bit bigger, you might be okay. But I've had some people reach out to me about it, and by the time we get that far into the pattern, you might have some other ideas of where you want to go. And so don't get too hung up on those circles, okay? There are other things that you could use. I want you to use your imagination, okay? Hi, Linda. She got done early. Hi, Carol. Oh, Cindy got her Stampin' Up order today. Oh, Cindy, I can't wait to see the new 6x6 patterns. You know, the catalog doesn't really, I don't get a real sense of what those patterns look like, so I'm excited to get my order. Hi, Julie's. Julie got her order too. Hi, Judy. Do you have the rest of Wisconsin with you, or are you by yourself? And hi, Shirley from Canada. Yay, we've got everybody from all over. Okay, let's do some cutting. We're going to do some cutting together, okay? These 3-inch squares are we're not doing anything with them. The only thing we're going to cut is the 6x6 Designer Series paper. Okay, so we're going to cut this together. So I'm going to bring out my trimmer. And where are my trusty my cheat sheet? Okay, so the first square that we need, well, the first cut I'm going to make, it actually is 2 7/8, but I'm going to cut at 3. The reason why I'm cutting at 3 is you're going to have some of this Designer Series paper left over. And I want to be left with a piece that is going to be a size that I might find that I need. Probably very rarely am I going to see that I need a 2 7/8 inch cut of anything. So I'm going to cut it in half at 3. And then when I turn it, I will cut it at 2 7/8 and then trim up the other side. This way, if I'm left with this piece of Designer Series paper, it's a size that is usable in other things. Like I said, 2 7/8, probably not so usable. If I need it, I can cut it down if I need anything smaller. But, so now I'm just going to square it up by taking that little extra off. And of course, this is scrap. So now I have a 2 7/8 inch square. And what we're going to do with this square is we're going to turn it on point. So it's going to look like a diamond. I'm going to put it up against the bumpers of my trimmer. So it kind of holds that point, and that point is right in the cutting track. And then I'm just going to move it so that both of my points are in the cutting track. I'm going to hold on to it with my fingers as I close this guard. And then instead of cutting down into that point, I'm going to just put my blade in somewhere else on the square and go up and down. And I've cut it in half. So this 2 7/8 inch square is going to get cut once diagonally in half. Okay, so I'm going to set those two pieces aside. The next, and when I'm cutting paper, I like to start from my biggest piece and work my way down to my smaller pieces, okay? So with this 3-inch square that was left, I need a 2-inch square. So I'm going to cut a 2-inch square out of this. You will have some scraps left over. Not a whole lot though. This here is going to be a scrap that you can, and it's a 1-inch length. So, I mean, you can use that in a lot of your card making. I don't know what your preference is on what you will save, but I'm trying to get myself to where I throw anything away that's not an inch square, just because you'll never get rid of your paper. You know, so I know some people save all their scraps. Now this one I might save because this would make a nice little scrap piece in a card. So we've got a 2-inch square. We're also going to cut this one in half, but we're going to cut it in half diagonally in both directions. So again, I'm going to place it on point, or what looks like a diamond, and cut it in half. And then I'm going to turn my triangle to where my longest side is running right across the top of my trimmer. And I'm going to put that point in the cutting track. And I'm going to cut it in half again. So we started with a 2-inch square, and we're cutting it diagonally in both directions. Once you got 2 halves, cut those 2 halves in half again. Okay, so keep these together and put these to the side. And then the next cuts that we need to make, we aren't going to get them out of these scraps, so I'm just going to put them to the side. I'm going to bring out that last piece of my designer series paper, and I'm going to turn it to where I have the longest side across the top, and I want 1 7/16. 7/16 is 1 line behind a 1/2 inch. So find your 1.5 inch and then come back 1 line, and that's 7/16. So I'm going to cut that. And I need 2 1 7/16 inch squares. So I'm going to find 7/16 again. Cut that in half. Move this over. Trim off that little tiny piece on the end. And both of these need to be cut diagonally in both directions. So we're going to cut them in half, and then those halves we're going to cut in half. I thought it would be easier if we just did this cutting together. I had debated on maybe giving you some homework, but I thought, you know what? It's a Thursday night. We're all just going to want to hang out together. Hopefully you're done for the day. You don't have any more running that you've got to do. And you can just relax and play. And so I thought, you know what? We'll just do the cutting together. Okay, and then one more, and we're going to keep these together. Okay. And the last piece I need is I need one more 7/16, 1 7/16 inch square. So I'm going to have to cut this. And now I've got this 3-inch square that I know I can use. Well, look, I could start another quilt block. If I would have cut things down to 2 and 7, I don't know. I try to get the most out of what my scraps, the size my scraps are going to be. So if there's something that's just under 4 inches, I'll still cut a 4-inch, take a 4-inch cut and then just trim it off, so that when I put that scrap to the side, there's a lot of places I can use a 4-inch cut. Not so much maybe if it's in those 8s or 16ths, okay? And so these are my scraps from that 6x6. So I've got one square that is 1 7/16, and it's whole. The other two we cut in half diagonally. We can put the trimmer away. And hi, Susan. Hey, Barb. Oh, Judy's flying solo tonight. Okay. Oh, did you guys catch Susan's comment here? If you've got the trucking along punch, there's a 1/2-inch circle in that. So thank you, Susan, for bringing that to our attention. I wonder how many people are scrambling for that trucking punch right now. I'm going to make note of that because I did not know that. You know what? I never even used my trucking along punch or the stamp set. I had to have it, but I never got around to using it. Mine are like brand new. Okay, let's do one more cut. So take 4 of your circles, just 4 of them. We need 4 that are whole, and we need 4 that are cut in half. So just eyeball it with your snips. Just eyeball it and cut 4 of those in half and just toss them to the side. Okay. Couple more. Oh, you're a little off. Not that it's going to make or break my pattern. Okay. All right, so now I can put my snips away. And now we can start making our quilt pattern. So I'm going to bring in the 6-inch square of whatever, it's a foundation piece. I'm using basic white, whatever you've got. Hey, Tony, you got your order today. Oh, you know what? I'm going to really be wanting my order now. And I don't think I ordered. Yes, I did. I ordered on Tuesday, but I didn't have it second day shipped or anything like that. So it's probably going to take a week for me to get it. I'll just have to watch everybody else, use their papers. Okay. So here's our foundation. And what we're going to do is we're going to adhere these 3-inch squares to our foundation piece and create like a 4-patch. Now, I did decide that instead of going all with the same pattern, I went every other one, I flipped it over. But when I lay it down, I'm going to put my stripes going horizontally there, and then I'll put in a flower, and I'm going to work around it here. And instead of this stripe matching that one, I'm going to put it vertical. So they're not going the same direction, and you'll see why. And then I'll put the other pattern in this other corner. Okay, so that's my layout. So let's get our glue. Where is my silicone mat? And because we're using this as a foundation, I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. And just make sure that your pieces are going to all be down. So, and make sure that you're going all the way out to the corner and then keeping your square inside the foundation. Okay. And then what did I say I was going to do? Now, I always start by putting my piece in the corner. If your squares do not touch each other, like mine isn't, somewhere along the line of my cutting, something is just a little off. Guess what? You see that separation? Don't worry about that, okay? Make sure that you're out to the corners. So, you know, somewhere when I was eyeballing, you know, measuring something in my trimmer, I did not do it exactly the same way. This pattern is forgiving in the fact that I don't have to worry about that. And you'll see as we're putting the quilt block together. Okay, so there's a bunch more glue. And remember, I'm going to put this stripe going the opposite direction. Okay, and then I've got my last piece here. Okay, definitely in my cutting I was a little off, but like I said, don't worry, because we're not done, and you've got opportunity here to, you know, make that disappear. Okay. Okay, let's see who else is here. Oh, Tony did do a 2-day ship. I've done it before. But not on this one. Hey, Diane. So glad that you're here and that you're feeling better. Okay. So now that we've got our 4-patch, so to speak, we're going to bring in those 2 big triangles. Okay? And you're going to have the longest side to the outside. And this point right here is going to be right on your division line there. So when you lay it down, you want to put your point right on the line and just get it in there in the middle somewhere, okay? And make sure that you're going all the way out to the edge. And then this triangle is going to kind of like mirror that one, and that's going to go on this side. So you can go ahead and put these 2 big triangles down. Remember, your longest side will be to the outside. Now I'm going to turn my block just so that I can kind of look at where that point is supposed to go. And then lay down that outside edge. Okay, and I'm just going to turn my block so it's easier. Ooh, I just got some glue on there. It'll be okay, and if not, I'll bring out my adhesive eraser, but I think it's going to be fine. Okay, and again, I'm going to figure out, I'm going to focus on that line, and then move this down to the edge. Okay, and then I'll just turn it and get back to the beginning. So this is what we've got so far, and because we're layering, that's why I like to go with a foundation piece that isn't quite as heavy as our normal cardstock. So you could even use like maybe the 2-toned 12 by 12 cardstock. the basic white. You just want something that's not super heavy so that when you do your quilting with your embossing folder, it's not so tight. Okay, hey Cheryl. Thank you for being here. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is we're going to bring in this, the 1 7/16 inch square, the whole square. We're going to turn it on point. Again, our points are going to fall right on our seams, okay? And if it overlaps your other point a little bit, that's okay. But just focus on getting those points to line up with your seams of your 4-patch. And usually I find that if I just kind of tilt it and find a couple of, if I can get the 3, then when I lay it down, my 4th one should be really close to where it needs to be. And using liquid glue, you've got some room to kind of shift it around a little bit. Okay, so there's that. And now bring in your, you've got 2 piles of triangles now. So bring in your larger ones. These were these come from the 2-inch square that we cut in half in both directions, okay? Now, here's where we gotta kind of be careful. Where's my cheat sheet? On how they're placed. Okay, we're going to start from the outside and work in. And remember, the longest side to our triangle is going to be on the outside. So we're going to put a triangle here. We're going to put a triangle down here. Again, the longest side will be on the outside. And then these 2 triangles, think about like an hourglass. They're going to sit between that triangle I just laid down and the square that's on point. But think of the shape of an hourglass. And that's where they're going to go. Just when you're eyeballing these 2 middle ones, just make sure that you're staying straight. When you put down the ones on the outside, it's pretty easy because you've got that outside edge of your foundation to keep you aligned. It's only when you get to the center that, you want to pick it up and just make sure you're straight. And using the liquid glue gives you time to move some things around. Am I missing something? Did I just... Now, how did I lose a square already? Or, I mean, a triangle. Oh, here it is. It's sticking to me. Okay. We're good. Okay, so I'm going to start with my ones on the outside. Once I've got those laid down, I can use them as a guide for those ones that go in the middle. Okay. I am going to sleep good tonight. I'll tell you, a natural like sleeping pill for me is to be out in the fresh air for even like half a day. Come home, put food in my belly, and I'm going to be ready for bed. No problems falling asleep. Okay, so now I'm just going to line this up. And I'm going to pick up my block just to eyeball it and make sure it looks rather straight. Okay. And then we'll put this other one. Hourglass. Okay, so I want to turn it. I want to put that there. I want my points to match. And then pick it up. Okay, I want to be careful. I got some glue that's wanting to come out from behind this triangle. Okay. So now this is what our quilt block looks like. Okay. I'm not alone then, huh, Julie? Hey, Debbie, thanks for hopping on and thanks for sharing. Peggy had dinner out. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so now we have all these little triangles. Let's just bring them in. We're going to start with our 4 corners, okay? And you're going to adhere your triangle so that it fits right in that corner. So these are easy because you're just making that 90-degree angle fit into your 90-degree angle corners, okay? So just go ahead and put 4 of these down and they will be in your outside corners. Again, make sure you're going all the way out to the corner. And if it's easy just to keep spinning your block so that your muscle memory is to go down to that corner each time. I find myself doing that a lot when I'm piecing quilt patterns together. Is if I just keep turning my block, I find that my hand goes right to that same spot each time. Now, not every pattern that will happen, but when it does, it just makes it seem easier and less awkward because I know my hand is going to that same spot. I'm not like trying to stand on my head. That's what it feels like when I'm trying to move my wrist around to make something work. So one more. And where I had that little spot of glue, I don't have to worry about erasing it because I just covered it up. Okay. And I'm going to turn it one more time to give that a chance to dry. So this is what our pattern looks like now. Now, the last 4 triangles, okay, I'm working down here in the bottom left corner. Everywhere we've got an open spot, we need to fill in with these triangles. The direction they go is this corner triangle, you want it to go the same way. So this is going to go to where my diagonal is leaning to the left. So just mimic what this triangle looks like and fill in this square. Or square. Fill in that empty part right there. Line it all up. And then just quarter turn. And, oh, where is my other one? Oh, maybe I got to go another one. Now, when I turn it to this one, see how my triangle, it's leaning the other way. You just want to make sure that when you fill in this open spot, that you're going the same direction as what that corner is. Now, where did I miss another one? Oh, right here. Oh, when I spun my other one, I should have waited because I think I could have done that one too. I just didn't see it in time. Okay, so I'm going to come over here. And we're going to put that one down and then go back over to this side. And again, remember, this triangle is going to go the opposite way because I need it to match whatever's in that corner. Okay. this. Now, your 4 circles that you didn't cut, you're going to put them right in the center of, see this bottom triangle? You're going to put them to the side, and you don't want them down too far. Keep them halfway, and you can go ahead and glue that down. And there's a reason why we have to be careful how far down we glue these circles. Okay, I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to put my other 2 circles down here. Now this block you could keep whole. It would make a really fun decor piece. Has anybody figured out what we just did here? What mystery has revealed itself? Oh, okay, so oh yes, puppy dog faces. Ah, isn't it so cute? I have been like just dying to show this since Monday. So we've got our noses, okay? Now, here's what I want. Let's just pause here for a second. And I don't mean pause like in pause. Okay, so that's like a dad joke. But let's just take a moment here. So I'm going to show you, where's my one that I've done? And you'll see with the circles that we cut in half, this is what I did with those half circles, okay? So, well, here, let's get it like this. So the half circles, I put the puppy's eyes, and I kind of lined up the straight edge somewhere where the ear meets the face. Now, this is what you can do if you do not have the notes, the totes and notes bundle. Let me show you what happens if you use the notes and totes. Okay, so let's bring back in this one. And there's a cute little die in this bundle that makes sunglasses. Okay, so this die right here, you'll get a solid pair like sunglasses, and then this end here, it'll cut out a real thin rim, and then you'll get the heart that is out of it. My fingers, and I don't, when you do the rim, look how thin that rim is. I don't want to really mess around with putting it on an adhesive sheet. But what I can do is I can take the solid side, and of course I think I used them all. Here's one in black. I can use this solid side, and remember that this is going to punch out a heart, and I'm just going to glue the lens in right on top of this so that I don't have to, well, here, I'll just show you the finished ones, so that I don't have to mess around with that real thin border. So this was the solid. This color here is what I want the rims of the sunglasses to be. And then my lenses, I just did them in black. So where the eyes would be, you can just put these little doggles. And I didn't even snip off these two little sides because doggles are like a strap to stay on the dog. There's no way a dog is going to keep on a pair of sunglasses with one earpiece. So I didn't bother to do anything with them. I just tried to position it so it looks like it's wrapping around the dog's head. Okay. Isn't that cute? So this is a die that comes in the Notes and Totes bundle. And it was just like, oh my goodness, I've got to use this. But I wanted to show you this quilt pattern so that, you know, right now, if you're a demonstrator, you might have already pre-ordered this bundle. If you just ordered it, you're not going to get it unless you do like an overnight or something. So, and again, I wanted to meet everybody where they are with what supplies they have. So you can still do this cute little quilt pattern with your circles cut in half, or you can put doggles on your dogs. Is it? Oh my gosh, I am just beside myself here. Aren't these adorable? And what I would do is I would go ahead and glue these down. And now, here's an idea. We're not done with this quilt block yet. Don't put anything down if it's something that you can see that you want to pop up at this point. Okay? And, you know, it's real easy to make another quilt block. But if you want everything flat, go ahead and put it down because you have to quilt your block. Okay, so I've got cards to show you where they've got the doggles on. This piece here has already been run through an embossing folder. And if you use the large embossing folders, this piece will fit in it whole. Just don't put it all the way to the hinge part of your folder. It makes it too hard to crank through. Kind of keep it down towards the bottom. But now you've got the whole piece quilted. Now this would look really cute framed as a whole piece. But here's the next fun part of this mystery quilt card. Bring in your trimmer, okay? We've got a one sheet wonder here, okay? So this is a Quilter's 6x6 one sheet wonder. And we're going to cut these puppies apart so that you can make 4 cards. Okay, so when you put it at 3 inches in your trimmer, this is where you needed to be careful how far your noses came down. Because when we cut it in half, we're going to catch these points here. And if your nose is hanging down too far, you might cut part of the nose off. Okay, so one sheet wonder. So what was fun is piecing it as a whole instead of, can you imagine if you were going to do each one of these singly, you would have to cut these triangles again, and you have more pieces to cut. So we started out with larger pieces that by the time we got done cutting it up, and what I mean here is if you were to do these individually, this is a cut. Now there's another, you know, and if you wanted to make 4, you've got all of these many triangles that you're trying to keep track of, right? But if you can start out big, then it's just, the pieces are just so much more manageable. And now you've got 4 puppies. Oh, don't put your trimmer away. Remember that 6.5 inch square of cardstock that you're layered? Okay, you're going to want to frame your quilt block. So we're going to cut 3¼ inch squares that we can layer behind our puppies. Okay, so there's some layers, frames, whatever you want to call them. And so you got that out of that 6.5 inch square. Okay, so here's your frames, and then you will just adhere your puppies to the frames. Now, I didn't give you any like card base information. I'm going to show you my layout, and there will be a PDF that will load this weekend. Hopefully I won't be too far behind with all the birding stuff, but you'll get the directions for the layout I'm going to show you that I used when putting our cards together. So first of all, do you like this pattern? You know, we gave cats the love last week, so I just felt, you know, our dogs need to be shown some love also. And what I love about dogs is they're just so goofy. They're so entertaining. And this just makes it's a cutesy pattern, where I felt like the quilt pattern that we did last week really just captured like the feline, you know, kind of independent feel. But this block here really gives the aloofness of a dog. And so I just thought it was really cute. So Sharon, where was your question? Sharon, where did I lose your question? It's something about embossing. Should I emboss before cutting into squares? You can do it either way. I just found that because that piece fit in the large embossing folder really well, I just wanted to get that one pass through the machine done the first time, and then I cut them up. It's up to you. You can do it either way. Okay, so let me show you the cards. Okay, these will get done later. Let me show you. I'll have to do hold it. Let me take that back. I think I've got, okay. So what I did was I took a card base for each one of the colors of the puppies. Okay, so I've got crumb cake, basic beige, early espresso, and pecan pie. Okay, let me bring in that. Well, I just cut it up, but we'll use this one I got to finish. So there's a card base for each of the colors of the puppies. And it's a 4 1/4 by 11 piece of cardstock. It's a top fold, scored in half at 5 1/2. And then I did a 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer. This is that C. Oh, look at that. This is like my favorite embossing folder. This is something C, I think. But it's these waves. And it is just a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. So, okay, I don't see anybody trying to call me. Why are we hesitating? Come on. Okay, come on, Facebook. There we go. I don't know what the interruption is. I don't see a call coming through. Let's just see if Facebook's gonna catch up here. Okay, looks like I'm back. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful pattern. And what I did was I used the stylish shaped circles. Now, if you don't have the dies, you can just take 2 different size circle punches, and I just put them down in this pattern here. Now, some of these I did, were some of these landscape? Oh, I think these are going to be all portrait. Okay, because they all are matching. So what my pattern is I'm going to glue, let's go ahead and glue this down to our square. Let's just go ahead and put this puppy on here. Okay, and I'm going to bring in, now I could put him on any of these cards, but you know, I'm just going to do it this way. And so for my layout is that this is going to come and just layer on, well, you know what? I'm using this other one, but no, this will still work. So I'm just kind of positioning the square to where it covers a little bit of the circles. And then the other thing I used from the Notes and Totes stamp set is, newsflash, you're fabulous. And I'll tell you, with the sunglasses, that is the perfect stamp for these cool dogs who have these cool shades on. And this will just go up here in the corner, just filling some open space, and then I would just embellish. Let me show you the cards that I have done. And Amanda, you're gonna like these because these are done in the brights. Okay, and I see that Facebook is lagging again. So Facebook needs to catch up. So this is in the neutrals. These that are in the really bright colors are really, really fun, if I can find them. Okay. And Amanda, you are gonna like these. Let me really quick, I want to catch up on my comments here. Okay. Strawberry Slush. And then this one is in Berry Burst. And the Designer Series paper is from, it's new. This pack is called Celebratory Sips. So that's where the papers come from. That is in these really bright colors. And here we got Timid Tiger. Aren't they so cute with their shades? And let's just get this neutral one out of the way here, because we'll finish him. And then we've got an Old Olive. So let's just put these here. Okay. So there's our cool puppies. Come on, Facebook. Ugh. Grr. And I can't wait to see what pictures everybody else is using, because the papers can really just change the feel. I feel these are more kind of like youthful looking, fun, younger people, kids. But not necessarily so, because if you love bright colors, they're going to make you happy too. But we just got our cool dogs, and then we have our little sleepy dogs. I think these look a little sleepy, but still very cute. And then I just threw on some embellishments, you know, just for another touch of, you know, fun on them. And so this pattern, this layout will be in the PDF. You can use your quilt blocks however you want to. You might have a card base, or you might have something started where this square would fit in really well. Yeah, anyway. So this week was about showing the puppies some love. And since we showed the love to the kitties last week. So what was fun about this? It was a one-sheet wonder. It was a mystery, but I also got to use the Notes and Totes, and it wasn't about the tote die. It was about the little shades. Okay? So, and I'm probably going to put these shades over my half circles. But it was all about that fun little die used in a way that was unexpected. I thought, you know what, they're probably going to think I'm going to do a quilt bag or something like that. But it was like, no, we're still going to do a quilt block, but I'm just going to use a different die out of that set. So there is this week's mystery one sheet wonder. Again, like I said, you could have kept that square hole and framed it and made a decor piece. You would just finish it. You would embellish it any way that you wanted, and then just frame it. Or you can chop it up and make 4 individual cards. Quick way to get 4 cards done, especially with a quilt pattern, and minimize how many pieces you're cutting to piece that quilt block together, okay? So I hope that you all had fun. Thank you so much for joining me on this Thursday night. Tomorrow morning, I have a watercolor class. We are going to watercolor a black-throated blue warbler. I hope mine ends up looking like a warbler. If it's good and I like how it turned out, I will share it with you. If I'm not happy with it, you probably will not see it. But I really do want to learn how to watercolor. I just think that my, you know, it is what it is when it gets down on the paper. It may not look real, but if it's cute, I'll take it. If it doesn't look like the real thing, that's okay. As long as it's cute, I'll be happy with it. So I hope to show you my painting. And let's see what else. I think that's it. So next Thursday will be in the evening also, at 8:30. And so yeah, I'll let you guys get going so that you can make your cards. Please share them in our community group. It's called Quilt Cards and More. You do have to request to join, and there are questions that need to be answered. But there's a place where I can upload PDFs. You are going to be able to be inspired by everyone else's cards. And believe me, there's a lot of sharing that goes on in this group. You're going to love it. I'm so proud of it. Proud of everybody that's in there. So, yeah, make sure that you share what your puppies look like. Again, different designer series papers are going to make it feel a whole nother way. What if you want these to be Christmas puppies? Maybe put a poinsettia in on them. Or I had a bow here. Maybe you want to put a little bow on your puppies. You know, you can finish them off any way you want, but different designer series paper, different colors will always give it a new look, and same pattern, but a fresh new look, new feels, and then we can inspire each other by our sharing. Oh, Amanda, you did? Oh, Amanda, I hope you get her. But you'll know if it's, you know, it is what it is. It'll be what it'll be. But I'm so happy for you that you're looking. So my heart goes out to you on that. And I know, Kathy, it was buffering a lot, and I really don't know why. The first time I had a call coming in. The other times it was buffering, there was no call. So it could be my internet connection, could be a Facebook thing. I'm not sure. But hopefully replay, it cleans up. Oh, another thing I want to talk about replays really quick. Facebook only lets them stay on our page for 30 days. I'm having a lot of questions about the barn quilts because those are lives that I have saved, but I have never uploaded to YouTube. So I got to think about that whole thing. And the file's too big for me to send to you in an email. So I've got to do some thinking about that. But you're not, after 30 days, this live is going to disappear from my page. So if there's a way that you can save it, but I will upload it to YouTube. And right now, YouTube is not taking down any of our videos. So it will live on in YouTube, but if you come back to the Chirpy page after 30 days, you're not going to find it. Okay. Linda says, could those card bases still be used as landscape? Absolutely. Let me show you some that I did in landscape. Where did I put them? I have some. Hold on. Okay, landscape. I just moved the circles around a little bit. Let me show you the ones I like. Well, these are all okay. So in landscape, I just put, well, you know what? The circles are kind of in the same place. Yes, you could use this in landscape. Here I was making it complicated by thinking I had to change where I put the circles. But no, totally doable in landscape. And to tell you the truth, I like this cut or this card base in landscape because it sits up really nice. I find that sometimes my top fold cards want to kind of splay out, but when I turn them into landscape, they sit up really nice. So yes, you can do landscape or portrait. Just play with the layout before you glue anything down and see if there isn't something that maybe you would probably change about that. But this will work in either orientation, okay? Okay, everybody, this is for real. I'm going to let you go now. I think I'm going to get ready for bed. I'm going to go and see if anybody has posted their cards yet and catch up with some emails and stuff. And then I've got my class tomorrow, and then I'm birding the afternoon. So everybody have a good evening. Thank you so much for being here on this Thursday night. Thank you, Canada and Australia, for being here. Australia. Susan, are you up in the middle of the night? How many hours are you different? You're either very early in the morning or you're up in the middle of the night. Whichever it is, thank you for being here. Okay? Alrighty, everybody. I will be chatting with you soon. Good evening.